So, welcome to an episode of Weekly Spark. As I mentioned in the last video, the theme this year is going to be the deer and the stag. And as luck would have it, I found this adventure guide with this amazing picture at a rest stop on the PA Turnpike. Now, I believe it's an elk based on the article, but I'm going to use it anyway because that is artistic license. So I'm going to try and get the dog to settle down because you can hear her tap dancing in the background. And then I'm going to cut this out so that I have it to work with. There will be a few spots that I may have to, paint over the letters, but I really like those antlers. So let me get an X-Acto knife and I'll be back in a minute. Well, I gathered up some paper and I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do. This might be, since this spread is so big, it might be something I work on over 2 weeks. With these colors of paper that I pulled out, I'm definitely feeling kind of the cave painting palette of those ochres and earth tones, but I pulled out a bunch of greens as well. And so I think that in the center of the spread, I am going to use some text, and so that can help facilitate a transition if I am switching color palettes and doing kind of a cave painting theme versus this big elk stag theme. I did love the idea of the sun and the stag, and I want to see if I want to play with putting the circle of the sun in the stag's antlers. So that might be the first kind of, look how perfect that fits on that curve. I just guessed at the right size circle. All right, let me cut this out because I might watercolor this. So I can see where this first part of the spread is going for sure. I should have watercolored this before I cut it out. Because now the paper is going to be hard to hold on to. It's going to curl up when it's wet. But I wanted to play around with the composition and have the circle be, I could trace another circle. I could use this one for planning purposes and trace another circle for later. That's going to be great. All right, so I'm going to just lay down some greens and some text and do like a first layer on this page. No real plan. No real plan except to move my coffee far away from both my gel medium and my water container. Because nobody wants that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and watercolor the circle. I am going to do it on another piece just so that I don't have that kind of wrinkling and everything that I talked about, because I think the next step is going to be putting this guy down. There's going to be some stenciling or some splattering or some paint or some layers or something, because this looks very kind of chunky and patchworky right now. So there will be layers on top to kind of meld everything together and to take away some of the light tones of the text, obscure some of the text. But this is very curled up because I took the magazine and rolled it up and put it in the door pocket of my door, and I need to paint this. So let's prep that first. Just for interest and effect, I don't need sunspots on the sun, but I just wanted it to be kind of an interesting color field, you know? So let's let that dry. We will come back and put the sun and the stag together and then see where we go from there. I'm really happy with this large scale tree branch stencil because it was perfect on this spread to really echo the shape, the size and the shape of the antlers. I went ahead with a brush pen and just did, on the left side of each branch to give them a little depth and volume and to make it kind of pop off the page just a tiny bit. But I'm happy with this, and I'm interested to see what evolves on the other side of the spread. These last things that I'm adding are just with some distress crayons and some Faber-Castell, water-soluble crayons, just to have some marks and some dynamic here on the right side. There's a cut-off antler, and so I was disguising that with the swirls that you see me putting in now. But I do invite you to like the channel and like the video, give it a thumbs up, and subscribe if you're interested, because I'll be back next Wednesday with the other half of this spread, working with the deer and the stag motif again during this month, and I'd love to have you around for that next episode of Weekly Spark. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good one.